because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive because your behavior becomes your habit. Keep your habits positive because your habits become your values. Keep your values positive because your values become your destiny. Unquote. Mahatma Gandhi. A very good evening to parents, students, and teachers who have joined us for today's webinar on positive attitude and peer pressure. Positive thinking is a mental and emotional attitude that focuses on the bright side of life. It means approaching life's challenges with a positive mindset. It does not necessarily mean avoiding or ignoring the bad things. Instead, it involves making the most of the potentially bad situations, trying to see the best in the people, and viewing yourself and your abilities in positive light. The COVID-19 pandemic is challenging us in ways we could never have imagined. From unprecedented amounts of family time, to attending virtual classes, to working distantly or not working at all, these sudden, rapid changes in the way we live, combined with uncertainty, can feel quite overwhelming. While we may know that it's helpful for everyone to stay positive, it's sometimes easier said than done. Let us start on a positive note and pray to the Almighty to help us overcome these challenges. I request Ms. Gloria to lead us in prayer.
Almighty God, you are our Father and Mother, guiding and protecting us on our life journey. We come before you today to thank you for this day. We thank you for the management of St. Joseph's Boys High School, our principal, Father Sunil Fernandez, Vice Principal, Mr. Uday Kumar, coordinators and teachers. We pray in a very special way for our speaker, Mrs. Jaicy George, and all those taking part and watching this webinar. Dear God, we pray that you give us your wisdom and strength to pilot us as we move along life's path. As we face this pandemic, strengthen those who work to limit the spread of the disease. Keep us mindful of those most vulnerable. May we shape our living to protect one another. May the change that the pandemic has brought be for the greater love of our society and all your people. Help us to reach out with our hearts when we can't touch with our hands. When we aren't sure, God, help us to be calm. When fear makes it hard and anxiety seems to be the order of the day, help us to discern. Loving God, be with us in all that we endeavor. Let us be righteous and true, always upholding the values that enrich humanity. Through technology, we have an easily accessible way to communicate with one another. Let us continue to witness by all the work we do in your name. May we always embrace our responsibility and use technology and our time wisely as a means to communicate your message of peace, love, and forgiveness to the world. We make this prayer in your holy name. Amen.
The positive influence of a good leader stays with us even when we have reached the gray hair stage of our life. Our principal, Father Sunil Fernandez, is the perfect example of spreading positivity through his words and actions. I request Father Sunil to welcome the gathering.
Dear students, parents, staff, alumni, and well-wishers, a very warm welcome to all of you at today's webinar on positive attitude and peer pressure. I am indeed happy that our school has organized a webinar on a very pertinent topic, positive attitude and peer pressure. One of the joys of playing outdoors when you are young is to play on a swing or a seesaw. It is a very enjoyable movement of going up and down or back and forth. In a way, it's reflective of life, which is full of ups and downs and back and forth life events. A positive attitude is akin to rising up and going forth, being able to pick oneself up even when one goes down. Peer pressure can be much like a seesaw. For pre-teen and teen children, on one side is the pressure from parents, and on the other, pressure from peers. Indeed, it is a difficult seesaw to balance upon. Today, the pandemic has added another dimension. To help us understand this topic, we are fortunate to have with us an expert in this field, Ms. Jaicy George. A warm welcome to you, Ms. George. Thank you for accepting our invitation. I am sure we will all benefit from your experience and wisdom. We look forward to your ideas and insights. Thank you. Have a pleasant evening and an inspirational webinar.
Thank you, Father. We have with us today Ms. Jaicy George, who will give us an insight into positive attitude and peer pressure. I request Ms. Veena to introduce our speaker for today.
Our speaker for today, Ms. Jaicy George, is a well-known motivational speaker. At school, she has guided parents during our parenting sessions and motivated our teachers at various interactions. For those of you who don't know her, let me highlight a few facts about her. Jaicy George is faculty in Christ College, Department of Professional Studies, and teaches etiquette and grooming, strategic leadership, and management. She is a visiting faculty at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and teaches business communication and personal effectiveness management at ICFAI Business School. She is also associated with ISRO, Infosys Campus Connect, St. Joseph's Institutions, and regularly conducts need-based programs in life skills and soft skills in various forums. Enthuse and Ignite is what she does. She also teaches life skills for the lesser privileged children at Bangalore Community College and is a facilitator with the Talentees Light Lives program, where she works with orphan children under the Catholic Club Orphans Trust. I'm sure that the time spent with her today will enrich the relationship between you and your child.
Thank you, ma'am. Over to Ms. Jaicy George.
Very good evening to everybody viewing this program, this webinar. Big thank you to Father Principal, Vice Principal, Uday Kumar Sir, Brian Sir, teachers, and a very warm welcome to all the parents and the viewers and dear students. So I hope this time is going to be a meaningful session and that you're going to go back with some learning and takeaway so that this evening that we have here that has been arranged, everybody would have a takeaway to take from this session on positive attitude and peer pressure. I'll just share the screen with you. All right. So we've been hearing too much about the pandemic, and I think, we've kind of come to cope with it, and we have kind of figured out a way to move around it. But still, the future is uncertain, and we are living in one of the most unprecedented times. Nothing is predictable, right? But over a period of time, we've come to terms with a lot of things, and we've made the changes and we've adapted to the changes. But this is something that I wanted to start the session with, this quote, which says that every challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. And if we choose to accept reality as it is and make the best out of it, I think we're all on our way forward, right? So, again, if we look towards or face towards the sunshine, the shadows are going to fall right behind us. This is a quote by American poet and writer who's Walt Whitman, who says that, if we face the sunlight, so in spite of all that is happening around us, when we wake up in the morning and we, start counting our blessings, I think, we can leave all the worries behind us, and that's the greatest hope we have, that, we've had big bigger wars, we've had natural calamities, but in spite of all that, the spirit of human mankind has not died, and we still continue to march ahead, right? So this is the environment in which we are all living, and we are all, I think, like never before, we are all banking on each other. We are there for each other, and it is during these times that we need to really, spread the positivity around us, because all of us need it. And I don't think there's anybody who's left out of the loop. All of us, all across the world, universally, we are all going through this time, and this is the time probably we need to focus on the strengths that we have and start counting our blessings. But definitely, we are all going to sail through this together, right? It's the spirit of holding on. It's the spirit of positive attitude that keeps many of us going forward. Many earlier it was like, probably it was all to do with the individual self. Now, when we look around us, right, everybody is experiencing a similar kind of a environment, and the problems and challenges around us. So we are all on this together. And just as we have a lighthouse, and a ship sails through the stormiest of seas, the lighthouse is something that gives hope. And we're all looking forward to that and hoping that the year 2021 is going to be better in so many ways. And we will all sail through this together. Before I again begin the session on attitude, I just want you to take a minute to reflect on what are the things that you're thankful for. What do you think, what are some of the things that you feel blessed about when, when we, like I said, when we start counting our blessings, that's the strength that keeps us going forward. I think to begin a day, when we are faced with any kind of a problem that we think we cannot accomplish, or a mountain that we cannot climb, I think it's at that moment that we just need to close our eyes for a minute and count our blessings. And then you realize you're much, much more blessed than a lot of people around, right? So to be grateful for what we have, everything, the food on your table, the air that we breathe, the water that we get, the people that we have, the talents that God has gifted with. And I think this is a time during lockdown and during this pandemic, many of us have actually been able to do this kind of a inward journey, and try to work on our talents. All the while we had taken a lot of things for granted, but during these times when we've been sitting at home, I think this has also given us an opportunity to look into our talents and to work on many of them. So I think we need to start our day, and whatever we are set forth for, with a moment of thanksgiving, to just count our blessings and see what are the things that we can be really grateful for. So a positive mindset is rooted in a sense of gratitude. When your mind is filled with positivity, I think this whole thing of gratitude comes very, very naturally, right? You appreciate everything around you. You appreciate even the little things around you that many times we take for granted. So with a positive mind, with the positive mindset, we are able to tap, or we are able to, really get into this reality of abundance, as we call it. So, with the sense of gratitude, it helps us to focus on our strengths, focus on the inside, and to tap into the reality of abundance. And the core to all this is to just trust and believe in yourself. That is the most fundamental thing. This is, I think, one of the most relevant times when we are actually inward focused, especially, to we are cut off from, especially when we look at students, or and look at their world. Students are cut off from their friends, they're not able to go out. And even we adults know the challenges that are associated with this, right? But we become more kind of, self-focused. But to begin from ourselves, that is the most important thing. And to begin with a positive mindset in whatever we do, wherever we are, at whatever point and stage we are, I think it's really important to believe in oneself and to focus on your strength. How do you want to spend the rest of your life? This is a question I have for the students. You can spend the rest of your life from today as an average, or you can spend it as memorable. Now, what is going to make it memorable, and what is going to make your life average? Average is like doing the routine things, right? You're sitting at home, you can still keep doing the routine things. But if you want to make your life memorable, you have to do something different. Now, what is it that you can do differently that's going to make an impact? That is what we're going to focus on, right? Uh, Wherever you are right now, currently. And when I say students, I think this topic on positive attitude is also going to benefit each one of us, right? Whether you're a parent or an adult, or, at all levels, So the question to all of you, okay, is, do you want to spend the rest of your life as an average, or do you want to make it memorable? And what is it that you can do differently? So what is it that you can do is to make an impact. Sitting wherever you are, reaching out, or probably, just picking up that, probably that discarded guitar at home, or probably some talent that you've not been working on, or something, right? And you start doing something for yourself, something which will add joy to others. I think that is going to leave you, I mean, that is going to make you leave a legacy, or make you leave an impact. So look at the whole, the crux of the whole thing, and, the 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 world around us, and to be able to make that difference, I think we need to start focusing from that. And to be able to make the difference is all about, again, going back to your strength. When I say strength, it's about your talents, it's about the abilities that God has gifted you with, it's about, the qualities that you have, what do people look up to you for? So this is a time for us to focus on our strength and not divert our mind to our weakness, right? When we start looking at the weaknesses in us, I think that kind of drains our energy out. And because everything is so negative around us, because everything is so bleak and dark around us, there's a tendency for us to also start focusing on, the other side of us, right? But let's be very honest and frank about it. We are all, we have all, as they say, fallen short of the glory of God, or we all have weaknesses. And I hate to use the word weaknesses. I always call it as area for improvement, right? Our weaknesses are our area for improvement, which means there is hope, right? So we can always overcome and come out of that negative self of us, right? So let that be on the side, right? It's not that you should not come out of it, right? Let it be. But I think this is the time for us to focus more on our strengths, right? And that is going to give us the strength to move forward. So when I say making your life memorable, it's about making an impact. And you can make an impact. I don't mean to say you have to have your face on the cover of a newspaper, or, to be famous or anything like that, making those little, small things in your daily life that's going to impact somebody, that's going to make a difference in somebody's life, as a student in your class, or as a student during your online session, or in your home, in your inner circle, your family and your circle at home. what is it that you can do to make a difference? Or probably step out of the home, you have your neighbors or your small community, right? So think about making an impact and making your life not just an average, but something really worth remembering, right? To make an impact. If you look at this picture here, there are two fishes, all right? And there's half level of water. Now, this is called as half empty and half full approach to life. All right. Um, if you look at one of the fishes, it's got a very positive attitude. It chooses, it's a choice again, it chooses to jump with its head in the water. All right. And that fish has a very positive mindset. All right. It looks at the half level of water and says, thank God, at least I have this half level of water. All right. And I want to live. And that is the spirit of the fish, which puts its head into the water. All right. Eventually, that fish is going to survive. All right. But the other fish, if you look at it, looks at the same level of water and starts complaining and starts cribbing and starts saying, I cannot do with this water, this is not enough for me. I wish somebody had put more water. Why is it that only I get half a glass of water, right? Why is it half empty? One fish looks at it as half full, and another fish looks at the same level of water as half empty. One is an optimist, or the one with the positive attitude, and the other is a fish who's a pessimist with a negative attitude, complaining. And I'm sure we can relate to this, right? There are so many of us who are still, focusing on what is not there. We are very pessimistic, right? We are complaining, we are blaming others. We're not happy with what we have, all right? And we grumble and we're always finding fault. And there is this negative approach to everything around us, right? We're so pessimistic. Some of us are like the other fish, positive, full of energy, right? Of course, we'll have our down times, but it's about bouncing back, and it's always having this grateful and thankful heart, like I said. At least I have so much. At least I have this. This is enough. This is all I need. When you start with that heart of, little, I think there's so much you can take in, and there's so much you can give out also. So that, that's what we call when your inside is filled with positivity, when your mind is filled with positivity. And as Sanjana said, your thoughts make your words make your feelings end up with as your actions. It's all interconnected, right? So what happens is what you do, your behavior ultimately, or originally, I would say originally starts with your thoughts. So if you want to do something positive in your behavior, through your behavior, it all has to start with the right mindset, the right thinking. When you have the right positive thinking in your mind and how you see things, that's going to affect your feelings and your emotions, and that is going to again that's connected to what you do. All right. So thoughts, also your words. What you speak is again what you think in your mind. So if you have positive words coming out of your mind, it means your mind is filled with positivity. But if you have something negative coming out, then I think it's time to get rid of that and focus on the positives. So in simple words, I didn't want to put a definition, but this will help you remember what attitude is. We've been talking about positive attitude. What is this attitude? We all say he has an attitude, she has an attitude. What is this attitude? Attitude in simple words is nothing but what you think, what you feel, and what you do. It's your thoughts, it's your feelings, and your actions. All right. And as I said, you want to change your behavior or your actions, you have to go back to your thoughts. And when you change your thoughts, you can change the emotions and feelings connected to it, and you can, your actions end up positive. Positive attitude is the way you choose to view your world. All right. The world is unfolding, or I would say, everything's happening around you, right? It's how you view the world, the frame through which you view the world. That's your attitude. But also remember, just as you are looking at somebody else is also looking at you, right? Through their frame. So we all have frames. We call them, the frame of mind or whatever mindset. So when its attitude is nothing but the way you look at the world and how the world looks at you. Therefore, it's a matter of outlook. What is your outlook to people? What is your outlook to things around you? What is your outlook to experiences around you? What is your outlook to ideas and thoughts and words around you? Whatever it is, right? What is your outlook? And remember, attitude is a choice. You pick and choose, because I said it starts with your thinking. So attitude is a choice. What you decide, what you pick up for yourself, right? You can't blame anybody. If you have a bad day, you can't blame others, because it's your thoughts that's responsible for that. Okay. And remember, as I said, it governs the way you see the world and how the world sees us. So that is what attitude is all about. I love this quote by this person named Zig Ziglar, who says, it's not what happens to you that matters. It's how you respond what happens to you that makes a difference. I repeat, it's not what happens to you that matters. It's how you respond to what happens to you that makes a difference. Here, the key word is the word respond, because if we just pick up, the pandemic and the COVID, right? It's affected all of us. It's just a matter of when is it going to hit me, or when is it going to, when am I getting the virus? All right, that's the stage at which all of us are in. But again, when we look at it, we've all, I'm sure, there's so many of us who've been through some very, very difficult, sad moments, loss of job, probably loss of a loved one. And, we are still struggling and coming to terms with it, right? But I think for us, the lesson is, it happens, and it happened, right? But what makes the difference, or what's going to make the difference in your life, is how you are going to respond to that. How are you going to respond to that which happened, which will make the difference in your life? All right. So attitude is about what we speak. So from the morning till the time you go to bed, all right, you're talking to people, you're interacting with people. It could be people in your own home, it could be on the Zoom meetings that you have, or it could be on the calls that you have at your workplace, whatever it is. Or you might, like I said, step into out of your home, and probably you met your neighbor, or you went to a shop close by, you're interacting with the neighbor. Your attitude is all about what you say and how you say it. So attitude is what you speak. So remember, if somebody says you have an attitude, maybe you have to change the way you're saying something, your tone of voice, all right, or the way you say it, all right. I always share this, that, if somebody were to say, sorry, how would they say it? You can say it in different ways, but it conveys different meanings with your tone. You can say sorry, or you can say sorry, or you can say sorry, right? The tone of voice, it makes a huge difference. Or even the word thank you, the way you express gratitude to somebody for something, right? Your thank you can be a throwaway thank you, like, thank you. Or it can be, thank you so much, right? Thank you. It comes from your heart. Or you could probably like, thank you, right? So attitude is what we speak, what comes out of us, and how it comes out of us, right? So attitude is all to do with the way we interact with people. If you're polite, or if you're rude, or if you're aggressive, or if you're calm, people can sense that, right? So attitude is about what you say and how you say it. Do you recognize this picture, students? Joseph, right? Uniform, it makes a big difference. Attitude is also about how you look, how you dress up, okay? All the more reason for you to be well dressed all the time, right? At home, nobody cares. When you're in your room, doesn't matter. But it is also important when you come onto a meeting or an online class, get into your, I think once in a while, right now, I think it's so important that we need to also dress up, and we need to feel good about ourselves, pull out those clothes which have been lying in the cupboard, and, um, get into good clothes, right? Because attitude is also about how you look, which is why we say when you go for an interview, when you go for a formal function, when you go to meet a customer, or when you go for an important meeting, we have to be well dressed when we go to office, when we go to work, right? Because our look is, the when I say looks, I'm talking about what we wear: polished shoes, groomed hair, and what we wear, and iron clothes, and clip nails and everything, right? Because attitude is also reflecting how you dress and how you behave, right? So don't worry, you might think it's pandemic, who cares, nobody's going out. But of course, I think make use of that one opportunity that you have when you step out to dress well and feel good. Who doesn't like to dress up well and feel good, right? So once in a while, I think it's important, especially during these times, get into your good clothes. Other days, all the more important when you are meeting people, when you're traveling, when you're going out of your home, to be well dressed, because attitude is also about what you wear and how you carry yourself and how you look. And attitude is about behavior. Attitude is about your actions, what you do. All right. Um, Facial expressions, hand gestures, posture, all that reflects your attitude. All right, positive attitude. So if you're feeling positive, I think it automatically reflects in your body language and how you behave. Right, people can sense when you're angry, people can sense when you're really excited, people can sense when you are when you're upset or sad, right? Because our behavior or our actions again stems from our thoughts, right? So to be conscious and to work on it, I think this is what is important, right? We might not realize a lot of things, but I think a lot of these things matter, and it is important for us. And the more you build yourself from the inside out, right, the more you work on focusing on your strength, as I told you, and focusing on the positive side, I think we are all on the way forward, right? So I go back to what I said. Attitude is all about our thinking, our words, our feelings, and our actions. All right. Therefore, I tell you, and it's a fact, that attitude is a decision. If you want to feel good right now, the control button and the key to happiness is in your hands. All right. Nobody holds your positive attitude key or your happiness key. It's with you, right? And you need to unlock it. You need to unlock, and you need to feel good about yourself. You need to feel good about things around you. You need to see good in others. You need to see good, all over. Only, and that is possible only when we think and when we are filling our mind with positive thoughts, right, and ideas. So therefore, attitude is a decision. Now the question is, how do you stay positive, right? We are all trying to find ways and means of trying to stay positive. A few things here which I would share with you. The first and foremost, and the most important thing is, don't wait to worry. Yesterday evening, or probably today morning, or maybe a few hours ago, you had a terrible day, right? But now you're sitting listening to this webinar and you don't feel so bad after all. Probably last year, this time, you were really worked up or you were really bogged down about something. What happened to that worry? Please understand that worries and problems have their expiry date. And if you continue to use them and keep them with you, it's going to ruin you. It's going to mess you up. So the earlier you bounce back, the better for you. It's like you throw a hard rubber ball against a wall. What do you expect? It won't stay there, right? It comes back to you, it bounces back, right? So you have to bounce back, you have to pick yourself up. It's like, I really love watching kids on the sports ground. When children are playing and, if they fall down, the coach immediately, ignores it or says, get up, get up, get up and run. And I like that. It teaches a lot to the child, right? And I think for us also, as parents, teachers, adults, and students, don't worry too much about what happened, right? Focus on ahead, what is ahead, right? And that again will give you a lot of energy and strength to move forward. Because let me tell you, there's nobody here. I don't think there's anybody on planet Earth. And in fact, even God went through a lot of pain and suffering. So I don't think anybody is devoid of that. We all have our baggage, but it's how we cope with it. So don't waste your time. Don't wait worrying about what happened. And they say only 8% of what you worry about actually comes true, which means we are like spending so much of energy on things which are not worth spending our energy on. The second thing is, keep an attitude of gratitude. Always thankful heart. All right. When you have a thankful heart, you will really find beauty in everything around you. Even if you see, sometimes I feel, even if you see a leaf on the road, you'll stop by and say, thank God for trees. All right. Attitude of gratitude. All right. Always look at people who are lesser privileged than us. And that is another thing which really builds us up. And when you have an attitude of gratitude, you feel that you're much, much more blessed. We all were very worried, and currently we're all empathizing with the farmers. There was a time when we were empathizing with the migrant workers. Even now, when we look at people around us who don't have so much that we have, it fills us with a sense of, uh, duty, and also somewhere, the sense of gratitude comes in, that you are thankful for what you have, right? And I think that's very important. Therefore, when, I always share this, when you visit a very fancy restaurant or hotel, do we ever, talk, or do we ever acknowledge the person who comes to clean your table? I'm not talking about the waiters or the servers. I'm talking about the people who come to clear and clean your table. Have you seen their body language? They're always looking down, and they have a sadness on their face. Take a minute and just strike a conversation with them. Just ask them their name, or just ask them where they are from, and see the difference. And before you leave, just say thank you to them. I say, when you have this, you tend to say thank you to everybody, even to the auto driver or Uber driver who dropped you off outside your home. You will turn around and say thank you. When the shopkeeper hands you a cover, turn around and say thank you. Most of us don't have that in us, but when you're filled with gratitude, it comes naturally. It comes very naturally. We should start developing these behaviors, and carry this attitude, right? A gift of thanksgiving. I mean, a gift of thankfulness. Joy boomerangs. This is another thing. The more good you give out, I believe, the more it comes back to you. Big question mark, because again, we are all humans. We should ask ourselves, am I that great a person that I can give happiness to everybody around me? Not possible. All right. There will be people that we may have issues with, or probably will be people that, are in our pressure point, right? But in spite of that, when you start giving out joy, it comes back to you. Look around you for opportunities to share that joy. All right. And it's like a boomerang. When you do good to others, it comes back to you, and it comes multifold. It comes in different ways than you expect, right? That's another thing. Always remember, when you have a positive mind, you can say no to others. And when I say no, it's about being firm. It's about, being clear about your rights. You won't allow others to control your life. So you must have the courage to say no. All right. Don't, when I talk about peer pressure, I will be mentioning that. As a child, as a young person, we should always have the courage to say no. You should know what is good for you and what is not so good for you. And how do you figure that out? That comes with a lot of parental influence, parental upbringing, parents telling you what is right and wrong. We pick it up from our friends as well. We pick it up from society. We know what is right, what is good for us. All right. Question to ask always is, what will be the consequence? What will be the result if I do this? And then, take a decision. Saves us a lot of trouble. Health is our wealth. I know during this time, so many of us sitting at home, we have time, but we're not exercising because there's too much on our plates. The other thing is that sitting at home, you tend to eat like never before. So I know many of us have weight issues, and we've been like junking, or we've been cooking so much at home that, you have this tendency to eat. Never mind, it's good to eat, but also watch out what you eat, all right? Because if you don't take care of your health, very soon you'll have uninvited guests living inside your body. You'll have your cholesterol mama, you'll have your, probably a diabetes auntie or whoever coming and, without knocking, entering and living inside you. Take care of your health. Exercise whenever you can. Go for walks, or, use the stairs or steps, whatever you can. Keep yourself healthy. That's important, right? For children, I think it's important that if your parents allow you, step out, of your home, play outside, and be careful, of course, with the mask and other things. If you have a terrace, I think this is a time for you to explore that part of your home which you've been neglecting or ignored for years. I think there's so much you can do on an empty space, right? So take care of your health, keep your body, mind, everything active, and that's another thing that you need to uh, uh, do to stay positive. Most importantly, surround yourself with positive people, which is why we love our friends. At any age, from a child to old senior person, right? We all love friends, we all like to have get-togethers and gatherings. Unfortunately, a lot of restrictions now, and we're not able to do that. But whenever you get an opportunity, surround yourself with positive people, all right? And that is going to really build your spirit up, all right? So surrounding ourselves with positive people, friends, or whenever we are connected now, of course, it's all online, but when you have a Zoom meeting, connect with your friends, connect with your cousins, family, have some fun together. That's so important right now, right? So surrounding yourself with positive people is another way to bring in positivity into your life, right? And the power of discipline. Now, discipline does not mean you must have a neat bed, a neat table. That's also discipline. But here, discipline is about what we speak, even the words that come out of our mouth. Do we use positive language? Do we use kind words? Do we use a polite tone when we are interacting or talking with people? Why can't you even do that in your closest group or whatever, right? So it's important. The power of discipline is about what we say, how we say it, and also giving that to people around. So discipline is to have an order. We say Abdul Kalam was a very principled man. Why do we say that? Because of his behavior, because of his attitude, because of his mindset, because of the way he spoke, the way he communicated, everything about him, right? The power of discipline means a lot. Okay. I'll just touch upon these points. We all need, especially students, everybody needs to have a spice life. What is a spice life? S stands for spiritual, which means every day invest little bit of your time in prayer, in quietness, or meditation, however you want to take it, but to be spiritually connected, right? It's very important. I, for one, strongly believe, yes, that if my God is in the center of my life, for me, my health is all right, my mind is at peace, my relationship with people are fairly good, and I can be emotionally strong, right? But only if I have my God as the center of my life, the spiritual dimension. Of course, as I said earlier, you need to take care of your health, your body, when you sleep, what time you sleep, how much you eat, all that is your physical dimension, your intellectual dimension. During this pandemic time, what are you filling your mind with? Junk? Mind, I'm not talking about your stomach. What are you filling your mind with? Junk? Or are you filling it with healthy, creative things? Ask yourself, are you spending too much time on the phone? Are you spending too much time with your friends, chatting up with them? Are you spending too much time on Instagram? Are you spending too much time on social media? Are you spending too much time just sleeping? Are you spending too much time gossiping with others and talking bad about somebody, or what is it, right? So this is something, intellectual dimension. To take care of your mind, read, creative art, music, cooking, baking. A lot of people are doing so many things now, right? But to keep your mind active, that's important than ever before, because if we see the rise in mental health cases, I think this is again a time when we need to really find ways and means to come out of our negativity and find within ourselves, around us, a positive environment, so that we stay healthy mentally. All right. Community, I'm talking about friends, I'm talking about your neighbors, our interactions with them. I do not know, it's a sad fact that we human beings have visited the moon and come back, but we don't know our own neighbors for years, right? What is stopping us? We fail to smile, we don't even know their names, and we're like sometimes wondering, is that your neighbor, some familiar face? very sad because we don't interact, right? We need to be socially connected as well, right? You never know when you need help from somebody else. So making friends, being connected with people around is very, very important. And of course, emotional dimension. Do you get angry very often? What do you do when you get angry? Do you feel sad? These are all your emotions. Do you get very excited? Are you very hype? So these are all our emotions, something that we also need to keep a check and balance on, right? So we need to invest every day a little bit into each of these areas: your spiritual, your physical, your intellectual, your social, and your emotional dimension. And then we say that you are a healthy person in all your dimensions. All right. I would just run through this quickly before I go to the next part of our session. This was shared by UNAIDS, 7 rules to stay motivated to study or work during quarantine. All right, quarantine, yes, for some of us, we're still in lockdown, strict lockdown, parental lockdown, as I would call it, right? Many of us are still trying to keep safe and cutting down on a lot of things, definitely. But the reality is, most of us have come to cope with it. So, here are a few quick tips on how you can cope. First and foremost, having a daily schedule. This is for students, all right, and also working people. Remember, quarantine or sitting at home is not a vacation or a holiday. Your studies are continuing, your work continues, right? Your daily interactions, just that you're physically not moving on, but everything else is, we found a way, right? We found a way to adapt and cope with the current time. So remember, quarantine is not a vacation or a holiday. Therefore, it's important what time you get up and also what time you go to bed, and have a kind of a fixed time for it. When I say fixed time, doesn't mean strictly, approximately, right? So if you sleep early, wake up early. If you are the kind who sleeps late, you may still have to wake up early because of your class. So you need that time to sleep and get enough rest. Take a few minute breaks every day. Don't sit continuously in front of the system. It's not good for your back. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your eyes as well, right? So take breaks, excuse yourself. I think people are more kinder now than ever before. People understand, right? If you say you need a short break, they will understand. They, even if you say you're going to be 5 minutes late, people can, I think, fairly, better at understanding these things now. Take a few minutes breaks, a few minutes of break every hour, all right? And please have longer time for rest and play. As much as you sit in front of the system, step out, work out, exercise, or do something that will help you unwind and also physically burn your calories. That's important because we need to work. We need to work out, and this can relieve you of a lot of stress and anxiety. Sometimes I feel children are coping better than adults during these times. I think, we as parents, we as adults, we as teachers need to invest into these areas, right? Children figure their way out somehow or the other. But I think we also need to understand that the more we do this, it's going to relieve us of our anxiety, stress, and help us to stay productive as well. So, what do you need to do? Wake up, morning walk if you can, of course, with your mask, all right? Or you can have an evening walk, whatever is convenient for you. A time, fixed time, right? For students, academic time where you don't have any kind of gadgets. And I think parents should keep an eye on this, that, they don't get carried away, distracted with other distractions. Creative time where you can actually, you will pull out your board games, books, play music, cooking, baking. I know a lot of children who got into baking during this lockdown and actually selling, right, stuff. Creative art, painting, drawing, or just playing the guitar or music, whatever, to learn those kind of skills. Your lunch, and then you're having your chores where you help. Again, I think thanks to lockdown, in many homes, children have started doing things, right? Cleaning vessels and helping parents in the housework and everything. I think that is the beauty and the good side of whatever that we've been through, right? So focus on the positives again, like I said. Then having your quiet time, maybe sleeping or maybe just quiet time, just don't want to do anything. Little bit of studying, homework, fresh air sometime in the afternoon, step out onto the balcony, onto the terrace, open the door and just go out and take some fresh air, right? Your dinner followed by TV time, bedtime. Now, this may change, right? But having this in your daily schedule makes a difference, right? A fixed time, or at least set aside a time for each of these things. If not every day, at least every alternate day. It's good for your mind and your body. Make work and study plans for the next day and the week ahead. To-do list, very important. Scheduling, right? You might think that, oh, who's going to do all this? It's too boring or it's too tedious. But let me tell you, at least for the week, not every day, for the week, have a small little book, small. I carry small books with me, for my everyday thing, where I write what do I have to do tomorrow, or just before going to bed, you just ask yourself, what is it that I need to do tomorrow? Or you have it written down, right? To-do list, which will help you prioritize for the week. It really helps, right? What do I need? What is the homework I need to submit? Is there any project I need to complete? Rather than forgetting and pushing it to the last minute, if you know what you have to do, you might start off with that, right? Your week with that. So you don't get delayed. It's all on time and you don't get stressed out. And when you don't get stressed out, you feel good, you feel positive, right? So these are ways to overcome stress and to avoid anxiety. Scheduling tasks, very important to least important. Now, you may have to constantly return those messages to your friends, but for a while keep that aside and focus on something which is more important, which is more urgent, and I think that should take priority. All right. Then staying organized. We all have live streaming, online sessions, offline recorded classes. It's important to follow up. If you've missed something, I know many of us don't follow it up, but if you are in the habit of following up, then believe me, it's not going to make it difficult during exam time. And this is something that students, I want you to keep in mind. We are all sitting at home. We don't know what's happening. Exams are going on one side and we don't know whether school's going to reopen. But let me tell you, when you come back to school, it's all going to be it's all going to be the same, if not, a little more challenging, because we've kind of readjusted a lot of things, right? We've adapted, but still our studies will continue. Exams will happen. 10th board will be there. 12th board will also continue, right? College admissions are happening. Everything is going on. So you will end up being the loser. So please do not neglect. Please do not take it easy. Please do not take it light. Focus on what has to be done. Otherwise, this gap is going to widen. And then when you step down to study, when college or school actually opens, you'll find it too much of a workload. So it's better to do it in chunks now and then step into that new whatever is there, or the old times, without having that, and then stepping in would make it more difficult for you. So remember, even if it's online classes, you still have assignments, you still have projects. Keep your deadlines, mark your due dates, ensure where to upload and how to upload it. Many of us struggle with it. Learn it. It's a new skill. Learn a lot of things. If you don't know Zoom, get into Zoom. Just create an account and learn something new. It will definitely not be it's definitely going to help you. You won't regret learning some new skill during this time. And if you have fear towards something, I would say face it. The more you face your fear, the more you're able to overcome it. All right. But the more you run away from it, it's still going to stay as a mountain in front of you. Remember, avoid multitasking. Research has very clearly proven that multitasking does not help in any way. All right. Assignments take longer because you are doing your Instagram and you're doing your assignment. When you want to, and you get into the flow of writing something or doing something, and then you get distracted with your phone, and then going back to your work takes such longer time. And, they say that multitasking is not at all, uh, suggested or encouraged, because you're likely to make more mistakes when you switch between 2 or 3 tasks, and they say that you'll remember less because it doesn't get properly encoded in your brain. And they say, research says that only 2% of people can actually multitask, which means we're all made for, or most of us are made for, monotasking. All right. Because monotasking, one task at a time, helps you focus on one thing at a time. And it also, when you monotask, take breaks between tasks, all right, instead of trying to do 2 3 things together. And many of us think, especially we women, think we're very good at multitasking, right? It works. In many cases it works, but they say that it is always good to focus, to give your best to something. Create a work or a study space, right? wherever you sit down to study, whether it's on your, on your carpet or on your bed or in a, all of us have phones or laptops, whatever gadgets we use, have a study space or a workspace which is for you, all right? And keep all your things around you, a quiet, well-lit space or area. And remember, your eating, sleeping, playing, watching TV, gaming, everything should be far away from your workspace or your study space. Don't try to bring in everything together. That's going to clutter your physical space and your mind as well. So keep your distractions when you sit down to study, right? That's important. Another thing is managing expectations. Be gentle on yourself. This is especially for parents when you treat your children and when you are working with them, right? Don't be harsh on them and yourself, right? Studying remotely and working remotely is a big challenge for all of us. So it's important that we are kind to ourselves. We take things slowly, peacefully. I know it's easy for me to say, just before I had this, I was like, I have a webinar, right? But I think to stay calm, to be kind and gentle on yourself, and just trust yourself that it'll all go well, right? So slowing down is okay. You don't have to be super fast. Slowing down is okay. And be consistent and do things regularly. That's important, right? Be consistent in everything that you do. If you have a fixed timing to study, more or less follow it, right? If you have a fixed time to probably sleep every night, fix to that every day, right? Don't keep switching between timings of doing tasks. It kind of again destabilizes you. So that is the discipline, or that is, if a little bit of organization goes a long way, right? And it definitely helps the person to focus, all right, and to be calm and stress free. Keep activities varied, alternate between using laptops, computers, and doing assignments, all right? Or even if you have work or play, keep time for each, right? Print whatever is necessary and appropriate. Rest of the time, you actually can use your hands to write, okay? And technology has made our lives even more lazy, right? So I think if you can, and the more you write and learn, the more you retain. The retention is better when you write and work out, which is why they say math, chemistry, and other subjects, physics, and all. You write, you remember better, whatever subject for that matter. When you write, you retain your memory better. Practice physical activity and healthy eating habits. Perform at least 20 to 30 minutes of exercise every day. If not every day, like I said, every alternate day. Ventilate your space, open your doors and windows, let some fresh air come in. We don't know whether the virus is going to come in with that. That's not in our hands, but ventilate your space. Keep your place neat and clutter free, all right, which is very important for a positive mind. Eat a balanced diet. Avoid chips, coke, bakery items as much as possible. If you have steps in your house, don't use the elevator. Walk up and down the steps, all right? Do some stretching exercises, okay? Put on some music, let your hair down, dance, jump around, but do some exercise, do some dancing, do some stretching exercise. And that again, will really de-stress you. Seek more ideas and resources, all right? So look around for, online classes or something that you're interested in. Probably this is the time for you to learn, right? And I'm sure many of you have acquired a lot of new skills, but this is the time to seek more ideas and learn. And this is what I want to leave you with before I move to the next part of the session, socializing. Quarantine doesn't mean socially cut off. We still need to see each other, whether it's virtual or otherwise. Be connected with people, be connected with your friends, be connected with your cousins that you enjoy spending time with, be connected with your friends, video call them, be in touch with them, have an online party, have an online dance. It is possible. There have been so many videos going around of people, from wherever nook and corner, but just to be connected and be in touch. Take the phone, call people you haven't spoken to for a long time, right? So these are ways in which we need to keep our social dimension also alive. So this is what I want to leave you with. Stay positive and don't allow the devil or the bad one to control your mind. I want to end positive attitude with the story of a Cherokee, old Cherokee, and his grandson walked up to him and said, "Grandpa, can you tell me, there is a battle between two wolves inside all of us, right?" Two wolves are constantly fighting with each other, the good wolf and the bad wolf. And he asked his grandfather, "So, Grandpa, who's going to win the war? Which wolf, the good wolf or the bad wolf, is going to win the battle?" And the grandparents' answer was he gave a very wise answer. And this is what he said: the one that you feed the most. The wolf that you feed the most gets to live inside you. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your mind every day? All right. If you fill your mind with negativity, that is going to win the battle inside you. And that is going to crush the good angel. All right. And if you're going to neglect the bad one, the bad wolf, or the devil as we call it, or the evil one, right? And we allow good to fill our mind and our heart and our being, then I think we're going to end up on a very positive note, right? And what are these good things we want inside us? Kindness, helping, sharing, understanding, love, right? Forgiving, all right? A lot of things inside us, right? All these positive qualities which will help us overcome and defeat the bad one, all right? So this is what your attitude plus your choices make up your life, all right? And that is what we are all going to do and take away from this session, right? Attitude is your decision. You want to feel positive right now, it's up to you, all right? And the power and control is in your hands, all right? We move on to our next part. We have about uh, 20 minutes, I suppose, and I will run through this session on peer pressure. All right. So when we talk about peer pressure, this is especially, I when I was preparing for this class, I was thinking even we as adults, we go through peer pressure because we also have friends, we also have similar age group people, right? We learn, we pick up a lot of things from them. So I think this topic is applicable for all, whatever age. But my focus today and this evening is on young children because this is a time when they can get easily influenced. So, what do we mean by peer pressure? Peer pressure can be either you're trying to be part of a group, you want to get into a group of like minded people, let's say friend circle, or maybe they're not your friend circle, but similar age group people, or you're trying to get out of one group because you're not very comfortable with it. It can be either way. So, here, as you see, the individual or the child is either wanting to be part of the group that you see, the circle there, or a child who's jumped out of the circle because that child or that student could not cope with whatever was happening in that set of friends or circle, right? So it can be either way, conforming or wanting to jump out or free yourself from, that uh, network, right? So what is peer pressure? If you look at this picture, the boy standing in the center and they're all forcing him, right? And we see that he's holding a cigarette. Now, if you ask from a very tender age, we can get influenced. Children get very influenced by their friends, by people around them. And most of the time, when we say peer pressure, we only think of the negatives. But please understand there is positive peer pressure also, which I will be discussing. But peer pressure is like forcing somebody to do something that they're not comfortable doing. All right. So, what is peer pressure? Peer pressure is the direct influence on people by peers. And who are these peers? They are friends of similar age. All right. Or the effect on an individual who gets encouraged to follow their peers. All right. And because your friends are influencing you, what happens to you? Your attitude changes, your mind thinking changes, your values change, what you believe in, and your behavior changes. Again, it's connected to attitude that I shared with you, right? When somebody starts influencing us, it changes our thoughts, it changes our feelings, and it also changes our behavior to a large extent because that pressure is there for good or for bad. Okay. And they expect us either to conform, which means to follow to those of the influencing group or individual. So you're expected, if you want to be part of that gang or group or circle, you have to follow what they are doing, and that can be positive, that can also be negative. and you're under pressure. Well, everybody is doing, even I want to do it. They have a phone, I want a phone. They have an Instagram account, why don't I have? These are the questions children ask, right? He's wearing an Adidas shoe, I want one. All right. Um, so many demands, right? So many demands, which is natural and which is very, very normal at that age. But we should also, as parents, when we see it from the parent side of view, to keep track, to monitor what is the influence that is happening on your child. All right. And it's always good. Let me give this message to parents to be connected with your child's friends, be connected with their world, spend time knowing or asking them about who their friends are, what are they doing, and please don't be too controlling parents also, where you tend to check every single detail. You need to allow them to have their little freedom in their little world. All right, we may not understand it, but it's part of their thing, right? Not to be overbearing, not to be super controlling on them, right? And there can be negative consequences when you control too much, so giving them that little freedom and playing along sometimes, that also works. You play along with them, and to be able to be connected and know what's happening on the other side, I think that's important. And to a large extent, we as parents can ensure that our child won't fall into the wrong trap. All right, because we know what's happening, because we know who their friends are, because we know who they're connecting with, what they're connected with. Okay, this is important. So the pressure to conform can be powerful, all right, or it can be something, which can pressure to conform can be powerful and hard to resist. Pressure is so much that you find it difficult to say no, and a person might feel pressure to do something just because others are doing, not that you want to. Somebody else is doing it, I feel like doing it. Somebody else is looking happy by doing that, maybe even I want to be like, but whether you're going to be happy or not is the big question mark, right? And peer pressure can influence a person to do something that is relatively harmless or something that has more serious consequences. It can be either. Pressure from people around us can have its positive or negative connotations, positive implication, or it can, positive consequences or negative implications. All right. Now, look at this picture. This is positive peer pressure. Your friend is struggling with something, and you are the cheerleaders and behind, saying, you can do it, you can do it. It's a positive thing, right? Where do we talk about positive peer pressure? All right, positive peer pressure comes in games, when you're on the field, when you're playing. You encourage each other and you're there for each other. It can happen when you do combined studies. All right, and when I say combined studies, I know what happens in most homes when kids get together for combined studies. But yes, combined studies, or when you see one student doing well, you are motivated, you try to help the other person, you encourage them. You don't focus on your friend's failure, but you try to focus on their strength and help them build up. That is positive peer pressure, right? Also, many times your friends are part of a religious group, like let's say a prayer group, or a environment club, or probably something that they're connected with, which has made them a very, very which has made them a better person, right? And then you want to, right? You want to hang around with them because they look happy. They look so, they seem to be having a good time, whatever they're doing. So you want to try that too, and it's a good thing, right? If you're connected with some, like let's say there are so many, environment clubs, social clubs, right? When you do some, when example, when you see your friend visiting an orphanage or an old age or senior citizen home, you're inspired to do the same thing, and you want to do that with your friends because you feel good and you know your friend is actually feeling good about doing that, right? So that's positive peer pressure. So peer pressure is positive when it comes to these things. Or you have a friend who never cheats during exams, right? Very difficult to believe, but yes, that friend is a positive influence on you. And you ask yourself, if my friend can do it, why, what's stopping me from doing it? If somebody can do good, why can't I do good, right? So that's positive influence and positive peer pressure. Negative, this is again, negative peer pressure can end up to bullying and very serious problems. But when we say negative peer pressure, the picture that you see here, many of us at some point as a child could have gone through this experience, right? You walk into a supermarket. Of course, now you have cameras, but olden times you won't have all these things. And as a child, I still remember, I walked into a supermarket store and, with cousins, and we were tempted to take away a few chewing gum. I still remember. But when we turned around, my aunt caught us red-handed, right? And we were like, literally, as a child, we started crying and apologizing and all that, right? But that's because of the pressure. You may not do it alone, but when you're with somebody your similar age, you want to, and you think it's cool and you think it's fun, right? But the consequence of that, what if you get caught, right? So the picture that we see here is set of friends who are visiting a shop, but they're trying to steal something from there. Now, that's negative peer pressure, right? You may not want to do it, but you're forced and you're part of the circle, so you're also involved. You may not be directly involved, but when the problem is caught, when the culprits are caught, you also have a hand in it. So, very, very dangerous, right? What are some examples of negative peer pressure? We said what positive peer pressure is. What is negative peer pressure? When your friends or you influence your friends, it can be both ways, right? You can influence other people just like somebody is influencing you, right? So you and your group of friends can cheat during a test. That's negative peer pressure. Skipping class, bunking class, God knows where you go. That's negative peer pressure, right? And you get the courage because you're in a group. You would never do it alone or dare to do it alone at one age, right? But because your friends are there, you would do it. Cutting someone out of the group. You don't like somebody, so you all gang up and say, hey, let's cut them out, like, let's keep them out and let's ignore them and let's be rude to this person. You plan certain things. And when you're young, you tend to do all these things. So cutting someone out of the group deliberately and making them feel miserable, right? That's negative peer pressure. Fighting. You get into fights, punching, boxing on the field, right? And your friends are all standing and encouraging you or laughing and, cheering you on. Negative peer pressure. Smoking cigarettes. It can start very young, but yes, you see somebody doing that in your circle, you're tempted to do that. Stealing. Stealing can be from the shop, it can be from your parents' wallet or home or do whatever, right? Stealing. That's negative peer pressure, and your friends know it. Using alcohol or other drugs. That's the danger. Um, Stealing as such is wrong, but then when you start using, let's say, alcohol or other drugs, you try it for the fun of it, then it becomes a little serious. One more, and you become an addict, and it becomes a problem, and you cannot come out of it, right? That is the danger of negative peer pressure. Lying to your parents about where you're going. All right. Now, this I'll put it back on the parents, right? If the parents have an open relationship with the child and trust your child before you want them to trust you, you need to trust them first, right? If you trust your child, if you believe in your child, and if you have an open communication with your child, they will never lie to you about where they're going. And you will have no issues. I'm raising two boys, 18 and 14 years, and I don't think so far I've ever had to catch them lying to me about where they're going, right? Because, okay, I want to go to my friends. Okay, you can go, but let me know where you're going, what time you'll be back. Fine, go. That's it. No questions asked, and they respect that, right? So they need that space and freedom, and that's important, right? So lying to parents is also peer pressure. Vandalism, destroying property, throwing stones on glass doors and windows and cars and all that. You see it on the roads, right? Breaking, puncturing tires when you're with your friends, or doing something mischievous, or scribbling on walls and all that, graffiti and other things. Peer pressure. Gossiping and cliques, gossiping, getting close to each other, and talking bad about somebody. Trespassing, right? You enter places where you're not supposed to go in, right? Probably a locked house, but you jump in, or probably this all happens when you are together. It's fun. Even if I look back, I've had some memories of doing that. But the problem is when it becomes, when you don't know where to draw the line and what are the dangers involved, right? Sometimes you don't think, but something dangerous could be waiting there, right? And you don't know. You get into somebody's property. What if you get stuck there? What if there's a dog inside, or you never know what can happen, right? Prank phone calls, again, very common. Sexual behavior, right? Again, a result of peer pressure, right? Sexual experimentation, or your friends tell you, and pornography, and these are things where there is a lot of pressure from your friends. Copying homework, all right? Homework, when you tend to copy and you don't give your original work, but somebody worked hard and you're taking credit for that. That's not fair. And many more. So these are some common situations, right? Your friends tell you, go on, you can do it, don't have to, I want you to, come on, come on. They encourage you, right? And you're in this pressure. Should I do it? Should I not? Should I go for it? What if I don't do? I won't receive, I won't be accepted. If they are your true friends, they will understand you and you will not lose the friendship. Many times it's the fear of losing friends that make kids, children, students fall into pressure. All right. But if you have a true friend, they will never leave you and they will never ever blame you for something that you're not comfortable doing. And what happens when you are under peer pressure? Your legs start shaking, your mouth feels dry, there are butterflies in your stomach, you feel like puking, you have a headache, and your heart starts beating very fast. You have cold hands or warm hands, the stress, the pressure builds inside you. Sometimes it's not, I mean, many times it's not good for your body, because your body is getting affected. Your mind is so disturbed, right? Because you're forced to do something that you're not comfortable doing. Peer pressure can lead to anxiety over a period of time. It can lead to depression. It can lead to emotional breakdown, and it can lead to very low confidence, self-confidence, right? You have this fear, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose my friends. If I don't do this, my friends are going to make fun of me. So I think I need to, right? And at some point you give in, right? Important, when you are in trouble or when you feel the pressure, very simple questions that you can ask yourself. But if you can train yourself, will, if I do this, will I be in trouble? If the answer is yes, you're going to be in trouble. Don't even go near your friends or don't even obey them. All right. Ask yourself, you don't have to check with anybody else, but your own conscience and your own self. Could this be trouble? Will I break the law? If I do this, am I going to break the law of the school? Am I going to be caught if I do this? And what will be the consequence? Will I be sent home? Will my parents be called? Will the principal call me into his room? Will I be suspended? Will I be dismissed? Consequences. All right. Ask. Will I be breaking home rules or my parent rules, or will I be upsetting them? Again, a big question that you need to ask when you're under pressure. Will my family be angry or ashamed if I do this? If the answer is yes, stay away. Will people in authority be angry with me or disappointed with me? Yes, they will be upset with you. All right. But if you've done it out of pressure and you apologize for what happened, I think as parents, we need to forgive, we need to understand the child, but we should also, ensure that they don't fall into any kind of danger with our communication, upbringing, and whole lot of it goes into it, right? Also, will someone be hurt, or either their body or their feelings, right? Uh, when I was in college, I remember I was just going to sit on a chair, and a classmate of mine pulled the chair, and I fell flat on the floor. Believe me, it was one of the most painful experiences for me physically. I really hit my, the bone or the backbone on the floor, and it hit hard. And for about 2 minutes, I was in a state of blankness, right? It affected me a lot. And the thing that I remember is the entire class was laughing. And this boy himself who did this was laughing, but right? But it was such a dangerous thing. I know it was peer pressure. He just wanted attention, right? But I think these are things that we need to avoid. Consequences, right? It can be life damaging, right? So if you're going to cause problems to somebody's body or mind, I think stay away from it. Will you be safe? Will you feel good about it? If the answer is no, please do not go ahead with it. All right. I'll finish with this. What are some ways to avoid or to overcome this peer pressure? First of all, listen to your gut feeling. What is your heart saying? What is your inside gut feeling saying? Don't do it, or go ahead, take the risk and do it. Listen to your gut. All right. And if you're truly a person, or if you're I would say, if you're well connected with God, if you're well connected with your family, if you know the difference between right and wrong, your gut will say don't go for it. stay away from it. All right. Plan for possible pressure situations. Decide ahead. Like if your friend calls you for a party, already plan in your head, what if there's something there that I'm not going to be comfortable with? What should I tell them? Plan it ahead so that you don't be caught at that moment and not know what to say, right? So plan in your mind. You are anticipating something, but you're also thinking what you can say about it, all right? Arrange a bailout code phrase you can use with your parents. If you go out somewhere, especially when you're a little older as a teenager and you feel very uncomfortable in the group there, call your parents and tell them, I have a headache, come and pick up. So that headache is a code you and your parents only know. Headache means you're not comfortable in that group, you just want to come back home. Very rarely kids do that, returning back home, right? But genuinely, if you feel that something's not right, reach out to an adult or your parent and get back and get out of that place, right? Can be dangerous. Learn to feel comfortable to say no. No is not about I don't want an ice cream, I don't like it. No, or do you want this? That's not the no we're talking about. No is, look, I like you, you're my friend, I'm your friend, but this is me and I know what I want for myself, and do not force me to do something that I'm not comfortable doing, right? No, learn to say no. You must have the courage to say no. And the no doesn't come out of physical action, it's more from a mind, it's more from your heart. The courage to say no should come from inside you. And again, thinking about the consequences, remembering your parents or what they've told you. And this is something that's really, really important. It comes with a lot of, what should I say? You must be convicted, or you must have a strong reason or a strong understanding of your own self to say no to something that can be dangerous to you. Hang out with people who feel the same way you do. If you're not comfortable, get out of the crowd that makes you uncomfortable and try to move and get along with people who are maybe not so cool, but at least you have peace of mind with them, right? You don't feel stressed and tensed every time you're with this gang, but with that gang, you're okay, not a very cool gang, but at least you're at peace. All right, at least you're accepted and you have your way. But there's so much of stress and pressure. Okay, so choose. Blame your parents when you're in trouble or with your friends and there's so much of pressure. Sometimes you can just put it on your mother or father and say, oh my god, if my mom found out, she'll kill me. All her spies are all around. So that sends signals to your friends that you're not up to it and you don't want to do something that's not right. All right, and if a situation seems dangerous, don't hesitate to get an adult's help. Always reach out. All right, always reach out and share whatever problems you have. So I think with this, I'm ending peer pressure. I would like to stop my session here. I want to hand it over back to Sanjana ma'am. All right. Thank you all so much for your time. And I hope the session on positive attitude and peer pressure has definitely helped you look around you. More than that, look inside you and something that you can take away to make your world a better place. And when I say your world, it's about you, right? You are the world yourself. And if it all has to start with you, and passing that positivity to people around. And I think that is what is important, like a ripple effect, right? What you do, the good you do translates to the people around you. And when someone sees you doing good or something positive, 10 people are going to watch you and they're going to do that to somebody else. And the ripple effect, as we call it. So I end my talk here and I hand it over to Sanjana ma'am. Thank you so much. And I would like to also thank Father Principal and all the teachers and the entire staff and all the coordinators of this program for giving me this opportunity. And to you parents and dear students and all the viewers, thank you for your time, and I sign out.
I'm confident that all of us will definitely count the blessings that we have received so far and to always have a positive mindset. And like ma'am has said, believing in yourself is a step forward to positivity. I'm sure we will be brave and take that first step and feed our mind with positive qualities and thoughts. Thank you so much, ma'am. It is now time for an interactive session. We have a few questions raised by parents and students. I request our teachers to put forth the questions on their behalf. We have Ms. Archana with the first question.
Thank you, Ms. Jaicy, for enhancing us with positivity through your talk. We have received a lot of positive feedback as well as questions from our audience. I have a question here from a parent. Peer pressure connects with competition when it comes to academic or athletic performance. On one hand, peer pressure is considered detrimental. On the other, competition is the means to bring out the best of talent and skill. How can we strike a balance between both of these? Over to you, ma'am.
Get this word competition all wrong, because most parents are focused on first, second, or those levels that they have. So competition can also be a healthy competition where you're doing well. Probably parents who are so finicky and particular that your child has to be in the top level continuously, and that's like putting undue pressure on the child. That is too much of pressure on the child. Apart from academics, I think it's also important to look at it from their, the non-academic side, right? They may be good in music, they may be good in sports, and I think for that, St. Joseph's Boys School is one of the outstanding institutions, which gives focus to the all-rounded personality or development of the child. But many other schools focus purely on academics. And I think when parents also come with that pressure of always being the topper, I think somewhere it's going to drain the child out. Of course, you if you want to be if you want the best, you always have to be in that league. But you should also understand that not every child can take that. Not every child can is is capable of being the topper or being in that thing. So some children can manage everything together, and the pressure really they fall into that groove and they just manage. But times when it is not in the child, when the child is not capable naturally, or the ability in the child is not so competent, because not everybody can be the same. So when that happens, I think the parental expectations put on the child is very, very dangerous. And parents need to, wake up and ask themselves, it's many times parents' unmet needs that they're forcing on their children, right? Which is very unfair. Also, we have a lot of these, career counseling and, opportunities now where we can understand what is a child really like, what is the child inclined to, and to nurture that. And in that, if the child is going to excel, the child is also going to enjoy it because he's capable, he's naturally brilliant to do in that area. But otherwise, I think you just need, as a parent, to leave the child to himself or herself. I won't say to let them figure it out, but you give them that cushion or the wing that they need, to see them at what they are, and not what you want them to be. And I think that is where it matters. And looking around you, that's the first thing. I know a whole lot of parents, they take the call, and first thing is, what marks did your child get, how did he or she do well in the exam? I think those are things that shouldn't bother a parent so much. I think more importantly is like, what is your child doing during COVID? Happy? And what are they involved in? Or I think the focus should be on the character than the academic and other things, because I think life is something which is going to stay. A job, marks, medals are all momentary glories, which I'm not saying are not important. But when your focus is on that, you tend to compromise a lot on the other things, and that can be dangerous for the child. All right. So to avoid that kind of pressure.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is by Ms. Minnie.
Good evening to all. The dates for the 10th and the 12th board exams are uncertain due to the pandemic. On behalf of the students appearing for their boards this year and their parents, I would like to ask you for some tips on how to create and maintain a positive attitude under such circumstances. I'm asking this question especially keeping in mind of those students who have not performed well in their school exams, and there is a lot of pressure building up for them to perform well in their boards.
I think even though the student is sitting at home and the teacher is sitting in the teacher's home, this is a time for the teachers and the children to come together, I think, more than ever before. Only difference is it's an online platform, but I think, parents on one side could be giving that security and whatever in their homes, but I think the institution to come forward to give the child the confidence that, we're all on this together. And I can very well understand because my son is appearing for his 12th standard exam this year. And, there is uncertainty, there is fear, and there is a lot of tension and everything. But I think what the parents can do is, not to again, be like a police behind the child, right? Uh, just keep, be involved in their, you know academics and find out if they need any additional support other than what they're getting. Probably, also monitoring them that they are making use of their time attending the sessions, because many times what happens is students can be online but they can be distracted with other things, and at the time of the exam they feel the stress and pressure. So just to ensure that they are on track, and I think that's where the role of the teachers also come in, right? To be connected with the students, probably a one-on-one with the student, and to give the confidence to the child, especially the child who is not so um, um, confident, and probably the child who still needs to put in more effort than the others, right? So spending personal time and spending one-on-one time with these set of children, and to at least let them know that it's all going to be okay. And I think that is what children are looking for, that security during this time, because nobody knows, right? But at least tell them that we're all on it together, and the teachers are there for you. And also from the parents side, the support, I think we need to work together even during these times more than ever before, and to just keep the mental health of the child at peace, and again not to stress the child when it comes to academics and other issues, right? So that's another important thing. And of course, we all know that the syllabus has been reduced to a large extent, so they don't have much of an excuse. But keeping that in mind, to be there for them, and to also keep track of what is happening in school, and also for the teachers to be connected with the parents so that it works together.
Thank you, ma'am. Our last question comes from Ms. Deepa.
This question is from a student, and the question is, I want to be liked. How do I know if my friends really like me?
uh, I mean, this can be like a small child asking himself or herself, coming and asking the parents, like, oh, how can I be liked? They don't like me. It's like a small little kid coming and complaining or grumbling. And what would the parents say? No, you can go talk to them, do this, do that. If I think of my teenage boys coming home and telling me this, it would sound different. They're like, my friends don't talk to me. I don't care. I'm not bothered. So I think, what are they looking for? They're looking for, again, comfort and security, right? How can you instill? I think, one is, to tell your child that even if nobody comes and talks to you, don't expect others to come and talk to you, because everybody would be having their own circle or anything. You make small attempts. When a child is small, you can say, share your things with the other child, so that, or take this little, thing for that friend you want, whom you want, whom you want to talk, want, uh, give this gift to the child who you want to talk to you, right? So when you start doing, encouraging them with little gestures like that, or why don't you call that friend home, or, something like that, you're trying to help your child understand that he or she is beautiful, important, and there is a way of connecting with people, and there's a, probably not being overbearing on the others and all that, but, to give, I think that's because of the low confidence of the child. So to build the confidence in the child, to let them know that it's okay if they don't talk, you make an attempt, you go and talk to them, you reach out to them, so build that from the parent side, all right? And always constantly reaffirming, all right, positive reaffirmations to the child that you're great, it doesn't matter, you have a friend waiting for you, you never know. And make them feel that it's not a feeling of rejection, but it's probably to do with the age and the peer factor and all that. And there can be parents who say the other way around, right? Just ignore, cut away from them, don't talk to them. That's not the right approach. Tell the child it's okay, it happens. Or probably share an experience of yours when you went through a time like this and how you came out of it and how you made good, better friends. So talk to the child and make them understand and make them feel valuable, make them feel that they are important in spite of all the rejection that they face, because that can be a pressure for them from the other side, right? So to make them feel wanted, to make them feel loved, and to make them feel special, and build on that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, teachers. Though we would have loved to carry on with this session, we are bound by time. Thank you, Ms. Jaicy, for helping us realize the importance of having a positive attitude, no matter what the situation is, and having control of our own actions. Gratitude paints little smiley faces on everything it touches. I invite Ms. Karen to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening to all present here. I would like to conclude today's webinar by proposing a vote of thanks on behalf of all of us here at St. Joseph's Boys High School. Our guest speaker, Ms. Jaicy George, thank you for spending your time with us this evening. Today, we had the opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this is so encouraging for us in the future. Your views, optimism, gratitude have enlightened our minds and shown us a new path forward. Your guidance and encouragement reassures our belief in staying positive and ensures that we strive to work together for the betterment of all. Our thanks go to our dear principal, Father Sunil Fernandez, who is our source of inspiration and who always keeps our well-being in mind. Thank you, Father. We thank our Vice Principal, Mr. Uday Kumar, for his continued guidance and encouragement, not just in today's webinar, but throughout the year. We take this opportunity to thank the entire committee, as well as our audience today, for presenting their valuable views. With a deep sense of appreciation, we thank our loving teachers for their untiring efforts. Hearty thanks to Mr. Muniraju and Mr. Roshan for the logistic support extended to all of us at today's webinar. Ms. Jaicy George, ladies, gentlemen, and dear students, we appreciate you for being with us this evening. We hope this webinar was enriching and inspiring. Thank you very much and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, parents, students, and teachers for joining us today.